My name is Hani. I'm a product manager at Engaging Networks. Today I'm going to be going through a segments overview in our module. So with segments, it's really about the ability to segment supporters into distinct audiences. This enables more personalized and targeted communication. We're trying with segments to unite the functionality of Query Builder and profiles. In segments, there are three types of segments. There is My Segments, which are the custom segments that you create. There are predefined segments, which are segments that are out of the box that Engaging Networks have created for you. And then there are AI-defined segments, and those are for the ones who have the AI license in our platform. Segments can be used in broadcasts. Or whether using a campaign audience or under conditional content. At the same time, segments can be used in reporting. That's actually going to be the second session where I'll dive more into that. In future releases, that's actually coming up like in November, segments are going to be integrated within automations as a trigger base for automations. And then later on under consideration would be to include segments in pages as part of conditional content. With segments, we have a new builder. In this builder, there are new shapes, and I'm going to go through a demo to further explain what all of these mean. But it's a pretty simple drag and drop functionality. At the same time, there's the traditional builder, which is more like Query Builder, written logic of your filters and how they relate to one another. What's new about segments? So we have the and or logic that I'll demo. We also have server responses, premium symbolic products, transactional details, automation status, last advocacy date, last gift date, recurring initial versus all. Honestly, there are so many things that not everything can be listed here. So let's go ahead and take a deeper look at segments over here. Let me do a view full screen. All right. So to access segments, they're found under data and reports segments. So over here, this is the familiar interface. So we have under My Segments, so these are the custom defined segments. You can have folders within those segments, and those segments that create will show over here. There is the predefined sections for segments. In it, all of these segments are out of the box defined by Engaging Networks. However, these segments can be customized to your needs. For example, like with low-level donors, if I click on Edit, I can define who those donors are. So, I can define those values in it. The same thing with other segments like lapse donors, then I can define like the period of time that will actually qualify for that. So they're customizable to your needs. And there's the AI defined segments in this demo. It just shows here because I need to have a license for that. But we have two AI defined segments about emotions in emails, whether positive emotion or negative emotion. In each segment, at least here in predefined segments, you can refresh a segment so that you can get like an accurate count. Like, for example, this active advocacy supporters has a count of 16 supporters in it. Last one year ago. So if I want like to get an up-to-date count of that, I just click on that refresh icon here to do that. If I want to create a segment, I go back to My Segments and click on Create Segment. Over here, a couple of things to note. I need to give it a segment name, and then I need to define where that segment would be used in. Right now, like I mentioned, it's available in broadcasts and in reporting, and that's important to define because if let's say I create the segment in broadcast and I go to reporting to apply a segment there, it's not going to show as part of the segments there. So you need to define that it's actually also part of reporting to show there. So I'm going to select those boxes. Automations, like I said, this is coming in the November release, so this will be available very soon. Once I save a segment, now I can get a count of that once I build it and also export that information in CSV format if I want to take that offline. So let's go ahead and create a segment here. Let's say I want to create a segment for supporters based in Canada who have opted in to communication. but at the same time, I want to exclude any supporters from that segment that have not made a donation prior to January this year. So we'll go ahead and start with, under here on the left-hand side, we have all the filters, if you want to call them, that can be added to my segments. Under supporter, there's the supporter data. I just click on it, drag and drop over here. By the way, for each one of these, there's this help section that shows here on the right-hand side to include more details about what this filter is about. In this case, I want to choose the location, like here under personal, so I have all the personal data. Under location, I can choose, in this case, country is Canada. I can choose whether I want this to be case sensitive or not. I don't want it. And over here with each one of these filters, I can decide whether to include or exclude from the query. So in this case, I want to include it. So that's for Canada. Also for opt-ins, I just go ahead and drag and drop opt-ins and select the opt-in question that I want. Let's say this, and then what the value is for that. I can further narrow that down by focusing on the last opt-in answer, but in this case, I'm just going to keep it as it is. I'm going to include opt-ins. And then, like I said, I want to exclude any supporters who have donated prior to January. So go ahead, scroll down to the fundraising section. Look at the fundraising activities, drag and drop that. So in this case, I want to do anything greater than 0. And then I can select the type of pages that I want. Let's go ahead and select, all of these. I can further narrow that down by the type, whether any single or recurring. And if I choose recurring, I can further narrow that to only initial recurring. In this case, I'm just going to select any. And for the dates, so I'm going to do an exclusion for anything before January this year. So just click on there, click on January and select the first, and then I'm gonna click on this exclude button. So as you can see, there are different shapes. The circle is for anything that's included. The hexagon, yeah, is for anything that's excluded. Over here, this is called a cluster in my segment. Like right now, I can click on get count to get an idea about like how many are actually within that. So I only have 2, not that many. But in this cluster, I have all these supporters who are defined here. Let's say that I want to add another cluster to this segment. So same thing, but for supporters based in the US. So I'll go ahead and repeat that. I'll drag supporter, select location. Country is USA, not case sensitive. And then I'm going to do the opt-ins here too. For yes. And then also I'm going to exclude this fundraising activity greater than 0 for these pages. And the same thing, I'm going to do anything prior to Jan 1st. Okay, so in this setup, so I have 2 clusters. Each cluster is joined by an AND. So it's this and this and this. But between them, it's an OR relationship. So it's either this cluster or this cluster. If I do, no, I didn't want to export yet. I just want to do a get count. Oops, I'm not sure what's happening here. Okay. Get count. So now the number is going to change. Now it's a lot more because now it's an OR relationship. So it's either this or that. So I have more supporters. This is like the visual builder for segments. You can choose to do the traditional builder, which is more of a query-based approach. In here, I just want to highlight that you have like each section has or cluster has this kind of thick line. So we have one cluster here that has an OR relationship with the other cluster here for the US. And within each cluster, I have those filters that I added. So this is like the location for Canada joined with an AND for the opt-ins, and then an AND for this exclusion. And you have here the include and the exclude for all of them. So you can follow the methodology that you're familiar with or you're more comfortable with, whether a traditional builder or a visual builder. And when you're done, just click on save, and now you have this segment defined in your my segments. Now, one thing I want to point out here is that we have these like kind of top level filters. So we have the location, we have opt-ins, and that's actually very helpful because if you're doing these clusters and each cluster you want to do this opt-in, it just becomes very complicated. So instead of adding these here, I can just remove the opt-ins and just have this opt-in selected over here. So this will apply to everything within this canvas with those, and like the number remains the same, 141 supporters. So that's a simple way to kind of declutter your canvas if you're building like a large complicated query there. So once we have this segment, if I go back here, now it shows here the 10-15. So that's the segment that we created. Now we can actually use this segment. So one way to do that is by going to broadcasts. So if I click here on broadcast, create a new broadcast. Doesn't matter, fundraising, email. Over here under select your audience, I have two options. So this is the my segments, and this is the segment that I created over here. And then there are the legacy queries. And it's important to know that whatever option you choose here, you cannot change later. So you need to decide upfront whether you want to use the legacy queries or the my segments. In this case, I'm going to use the segment that I created, 10-15. Click on next. And over here, you can see like this view segment. So this kind of gives me the idea of what that segment is. This is something new, by the way, that we added in our last release. So you can visually see, what segment you have created from before. Over here, let's go ahead and create a message. Start from template. Just select anything here. Okay, so I have this message. Choose the sender, tracking code. Okay, save that. And what I also want to demonstrate is that within this broadcast, sure, I selected like an audience, but also I can have different segments with different messages within that. So over here, if I click on add a segment, I can select another segment, okay? And then, associated with a different template or for a different broadcast. So this actually becomes now a lot powerful than before because now I can do a very granular segmentation with each segment having its own message to show. At the same time, I can do conditional content with segments. So if I edit this email over here, oops, no, what did I do? Okay, not sure why it's not showing. Maybe I need to choose a different template. Okay, let's delete that. Okay, so I have this block, okay? If I click on it and then click on this conditional icon, then I can select a specific segment to show in there, and that's like the segment that I created. So based on that, supporters, when they open this email, if they're part of that segment, then they're going to see that block. If they're not, then they're not going to see it. So that's like very useful when building broadcasts because now it's very targeted. And that's how segments really can help you in approaching that targeted approach for your supporters to really get the most out of your broadcast messages. So in the next session, I'll dive deeper into reporting and how we can apply a segment to whether visual reports or the report builder. But I think, yeah, that's it for me for now for this. Yeah.
Thank you, Hani. So much. Okay, we do have some questions. Also, like I can read them out, but this is kind of informal workshop style, so like feel free to just like hop in and ask or clarify if you need. I guess I'll speak on the
Yeah.
mic. Thank you. Okay, so Hanny, there's a couple questions for you. Can you use the separator to create an or like Canada, Mexico, United States to cover everyone in North America? Let me get it.
You should be able to.
We're just gonna do it live. Okay, stressed.
So you can like select each field for the country that you want. So like for example here I can choose USA, okay, and then I can add that again and choose Canada or Mexico. Now I have like pretty much supporters Canada, yeah, supporters from all of those countries, all kind of joined by an or, so like that.
Did the, oh yeah, Gwiggle.
Ah, mm, mm. Okay. I believe so. I can double check on that. Yeah, then correct. Okay. Yeah, that's very useful feedback. Definitely we'll look into that. Yeah. Thank
We
you.
can look at that today. Okay. Once you build a segment, can you export it as a user export?
Yeah, so over here, let me open that segment that I already created. So if I open that, there's this export CSV button, and if you click on it, it's gonna download like a CSV. Yeah, it's gonna open like a CSV file that you can get all the list of supporters in it.
Did I answer your question, whoever asked it? Hopefully. Okay. Do you need to pull the opt-in into each cluster like you did, or can you just use the opt-in that's in the upper right corner?
Exactly, you can do both approaches. It's really what you want, with your specific use case, but you can specifically have the opt-in added to each cluster, or you can do like the top opt-in over here for everything within that canvas. Yeah.
Great. Can you build a more complicated query for conditional language?
Like what?
I'm not sure who asked, but you're welcome to clarify if you'd like. Okay, we can also circle back to that one. Okay, two more. I'm new to EN. If I need to build a segment, but the indicator for the segment is in our main CRM, not EN, do I have to do an EN upload of those names, emails, etc. as a segment?
I believe we pulled that information from here. So if you look on supporter data under other data, that should be pulled from here. Like here, I have Salesforce stuff. So I believe that should be pulled. If that's not the case, then please let us know, and we'll look into that.
Okay. And then one more question on the app. Although I don't know if it's necessarily a Hanny answer, or maybe there's some like crowdsourcing here. How do you determine what is a meaningful segment? Giving level, number of opens. I think this might be a little bit specific to your org's goals, but I don't know if you have anything that you want to add.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think every organization has a different definition of that. So it's really what you're trying to achieve, like which supporters you're trying to reach. So yeah, yeah.
I don't know if anyone else in the room has anything that they want to share from what you're doing, but yeah, I think it's a bit of a kind of a personal game there. Okay. Does anyone else have any hands-on practical questions for Hanny? Yes, go ahead.
So within the segment export, you can export that CSV file. It's like gives you the standard columns and rows. Will there be the ability to add any fields into that export at some time or another?
So will there be an ability to add fields into the export?
Especially our CRM fields.
Okay. Uh, I don't have any roadmap items related to that right now, but you can use the report builder in the next session. We'll dive a little bit into that and see maybe if you can replicate that into a specific report based on the fields that you want. So maybe that can address that question. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else? Do better with the mic.
so everyone.
Mine was just a basic question. Is there a target date for when people are supposed to transition fully to segments?
No, there isn't a specific target date. I mean, eventually we will migrate to segments, right? But like for a specific target date, we don't have that yet. And like, I'm curious on that. Like, what hindrances do you have for you not to adopt segments? Like, do you have something in mind? Like, because we'd love to hear your feedback on that. See, like, how we can address it.
So I would say it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have a lot of segments and we use a lot of data pulled in from our CRM. So, and I wanted to test it to see, are they working? So I built ones for our monthly e-newsletters where we're using them every month on a regular basis to see if we find any issues with the deployments. But we have a lot of suppressions that we pull in from outside segmentation. And so it's just sitting there and trying to rebuild something that's already functioning
Okay.
in queries
Yeah.
over. I don't know if that's what other people are experiencing,
So-
but that's my.
If there was a button that magically,
Yes.
transforms
Exactly,
whatever queries you have
yes.
into segments, that would be a win, right?
As the client success person here, I'd like to +1 that product. Yeah. Okay, we can chat about that, but no formal date set yet. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it kind of builds on the question that was just asked, but one thing I was wondering is we use profiles a lot for specific, list pools, right? To have a specific targeted list that we're going to reach out to and target with our sends. Is there a way to add in a specific list pool, like a profile, into the segments rather than replace it entirely with the segment?
No, right now they're separate. So profiles are separate, segments is separate. So
But is there any way to integrate the two, like to be able to add the profile as a
not that
part
I'm
of the
aware
segment?
of, honestly. Yeah. So we kind of built it as a separate product within Engaging Networks. I do understand the migration process, and that wasn't there because technically it's very challenging translating, whatever profiles, whatever, queries that you already built in Query Builder into segments. So that's technically actually very difficult. But we're aware of this, so it's on our mind, under consideration how we can tackle it later.
Got it. Yeah, because it's in more relation to also like adding suppressions, right? Like having a specific email list of suppressions to add in. Yeah. But thank you.
Could you go back to the broadcast that you were building when you were doing the conditional content and kind of just show in that block itself, are you able to build multiple conditional segments, or do you have to like create a new block for each segment? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So over here, like let's say, this block, I want to choose this segment here. And then in this block, I can choose another segment. Right there. There you go. So you can, as many segments that you have, you can add to your blocks.
And it would be within that same block. So then if, for example, anyone who's not in those new segments would see the fallback block.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just keeping an eye on the time, so I think we're going to have to transition to the next set of breakouts. Thank you very much, Hanny, for
Thank
being
you.
on the spot and answering all those questions.
Thank you.